Masvidal versus Usman. How do you promote that? How do you promote that fight? If you're in charge, if you get tasked with this, you need to be the one to tell the story of this fight. What direction are you going to go? And it's a very fascinating question for me. I think I'll personalize this. I don't know that you guys would find this as interesting or even spend a single second of your day wondering or trying to answer that question. And I don't blame you. That's not your job. Your job is to sit back and enjoy the fights. But if you do look at it from this perspective, I think you could have some real fun, not just with this fight, with each fight. How are you going to do it? There is a meeting at some point that takes place when you make a fight like this, where you're going to ask your marketing team, how do we plan to tell the story of this fight? Because you only have one. Right? You have a story. Why are we here? There could be 20 different reasons. But if you're making videos and you're making clips or you're putting up a billboard pictures worth 1,000 words, you need to tell this story and you need to tell it quickly as somebody is driving down the interstate. What is the story of this fight? Now, I believe that you guys like me would come to the conclusion that the story of this fight is these two already matched up, regardless of what happened or how unclose, uncompetitive the scoring / round structure was. The fight was a hard fight. And Masvidal wants a rematch. And Masvidal, as the biggest star in this sport, does not want to have another loss. And when we understand that, in conjunction with the fact that he's the one calling for this, Masvidal is willing to put his stardom, his power, his draw ability on the line because he's so sure that with a full training camp and with the experiences that he gained in the first contest, that he can right the wrong. He can flip the script. He can beat the unbeatable. He can become the champion, right? Okay, catchphrases. But the reason I bring to you that I don't think that's the story of the fight, I think we're wrong. And as we're zeroing in on X amount of weeks before this contest, I saw something today, which was that Usman is a 3-1 favorite. That's evidence, though. If the audience believes that Usman is a 3-1 favorite and they're parting with their money, you have to use that as a variable to the equation of, is the story going to work that Masvidal on a full camp can beat him? Because the bettors are letting you know, no, it's not. They don't buy it. And if the bettors don't buy, you've got to work that in, right? You're a detective. You got to be taking all these clues. If you're the promoter, and that is a clue, that is a quantifiable number, that the audience does not buy the story. So what do? Do you retell it? But this time you tell it louder and you tell it better. It's an option. Do you go to a new story completely that you also have no evidence is going to work? Do you flip everything and put the machine into drive, going in another direction? What do? What's the story of the fight? Because it is very hard, historically speaking, to ever find a fight that was that lopsided, per the judges, that would warrant seeing it again immediately. And it is immediately, at least for one, which is Masvidal. He doesn't fight anybody else. That was his last fight. It will be his next fight. I only bring that to you because, yes, we should see this rematch very much. And that was a very hard fight. It really was. Masvidal presented problems that Usman did not know were going to be problems. Taking him down being one of them. Keeping him down once you get in there being one of them. Masvidal being fearless with the striking. Walking right out and getting into it. Masvidal holding up in the championship rounds while being on short notice. I mean, it's a problem. Masvidal's a big freaking problem. But if the story doesn't resonate with the fans, and we have evidence of that, which is the betting line, that means that the story potentially is not going to work, and we need it to work because Masvidal is a star and Usman is the best. It's one of those things. Masvidal wants to take what Usman has. Masvidal wants to be the best and the biggest star. Well, Usman would like to remain the best, but also be the biggest star. I mean, you see what's going on? Both of these guys have put everything in. Both of these guys are all chips in. And you have to make sure that you're looking at it that way But the promoter has to make sure that he gives you the narrative to start with, and that's really what's happening here. This is not a cash grab. This is not about let's go put on a big fight and wherever Masvidal goes for the time being comes a whole bunch of interest. That's not what this is. Not for Masvidal. Masvidal's done cash grabs. This isn't a cash grab. This is a young man who sacrificed it, has an opportunity to win a world championship, who, by the way, this will be his last opportunity. Big of a star as he is, as good as he is, he does not get another chance, and he's already even done the change weight class gimmick. Right? Changing weight class is a great way to cut the line. He's already done it. This is going to be Masvidal's last chance. He is going all chips in. It's very relevant that you understand that. It's very relevant that you understand the risk that Masvidal is not only taking, that he's asked to take, that he's willing to take, and the confidence that he has. So I know what I saw. I know what you guys saw. And we understand how the judges scored that. Masvidal saw something different, and they're not just words. Those are very beautiful words if you want to go hide out and not do a fight. They're very beautiful words after you retire and you try to look back. You're in some safe zone. Masvidal's in the fire. And he's asking people to throw diesel on it because it's not hot enough for him yet. It's very relevant that you understand this. It's very relevant that you understand this. This is about a championship. This isn't about the money. This isn't about doing a favor for the organization on 8 days' notice and hoping something comes back your way. Those are done. That's not what this is. This is a guy that's worked hard his entire life in Jorge Masvidal, who is going to take a risk to try to get the ultimate reward. And it's very important that it's looked at like that. You then have a guy in Kamaru Usman who's beaten everybody to the point that he's starting to have to go through and beat everybody a second time, which has only been done in that division once, and that was by George St-Pierre. So you're seeing something very special right in front of you. And Usman is mad. People respect Usman. People like Usman. I'm sharing behind the scenes if you ever meet him, okay? People like him. He's a popular guy. And people respect him because he was a hardworking guy. But you're now starting to see that if you don't fall into one of those categories, that of like or respect, and Masvidal does not. He does not like Usman, and he does not respect Usman. That's going to piss him off. And Usman, like any other human being, has the right to tick and be motivated to build determination off of whatever he personally sees fit. And that is why he's showing up. This is not a cash grab for him. He's going, hey, you didn't like me, you didn't respect me. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to beat your ass under the unified rules. Half naked on television. I'm going to let the whole world watch. You will respect me. He did that, and it still didn't work. I should say, this is what happened. If you're Usman, what else can I do? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take your one and only excuse that you offered. I'm going to make sure that it doesn't exist. I'm going to beat your ass again. That's what I'm going to do. For me, that's compelling. For me, that's more compelling than this whole short notice bit. However, I just portrayed this to you guys as quickly and eloquently as I could portray it to you, and it took me 4.5 minutes. Now, I bring that to you because if you're telling the story of the fight, you got to be able to tell now. It's called a stump speech, okay? If you're a politician, you're ever running for office, it's called a stump speech. The stump is the front. You go knock on somebody's door, they open the door, and you give them the quick 8 to 12 second version of why you're standing there, why you want them to vote for them. It's called this, but it has to be done quickly. You don't always have 30 minutes. Not every promotion is a press conference. There's only one, in fact. Not every promotion you get to sit down in the world of the internet, take all the time you want. You could pop on SportsCenter, not even know it, and they say, hey, you got 2 minutes. Great. Talk about this for 2 minutes. You could pop on SportsCenter, and right before you go on air, they will tell you you have 24 seconds. We're going to cut you off, and we're going to go to a commercial break. You got to be able to tell your story. I think the story and the point that I'm attempting to make, that both of these guys have all chips in. Usman is willing to put it all on the line to take what Masvidal has. Masvidal will put it all on the line. It all goes on the line. The biggest star in the sport, and he could be suffering 2 defeats, not great. He's willing to put it on the line to see a dream come true. How do we tell that story quickly